Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoko.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, the Ruler School Circuit Series now taking orders on our Q4 2024 circuit kits, and our guest lecturer members, Fight Ramen. Class is in session. Hey, the rulers, welcome back after 2 long weeks of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours, officially endorsing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for president. So there you go, for all that matters. Go vote tomorrow if you haven't already. End fascism and play more foul. That's what we're going to say here tonight. We have a lot of spoilers, and by a lot, I mean more than you think, because it's a lot, and it's a lot. We literally forgot some cards as we were getting ready for tonight, and I had to go find them. There are so many cards. So be prepared for me to say this is cute and move on very quickly. As always, if you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting the channel, you can click that link down below to join as a member. You can also obviously go ahead and like and subscribe and share this with all your foul-loving friends to show them what's going on in the new sets. And Faustism? No. We want Faustism. We don't want fascism. That's the difference. So
I can't read, dude.
Well, it's okay. Let's talk about it. So we have double sealing technique, blue-white. It is our, or black-white. It is our consensus chance, would cost more. The consensus is liberation or seal. Each player puts up to exactly one resonator from their graveyard or removed area into the field. Seal, each other player removes 3 cards from their hand from the game face down. And then tie expels this card as it resolves. Neat to put in. I probably will put in all of the consensus cards in APC decks that I build just because they will be fun to play. Absolutely unplayable outside of APC. Moving on.
Correct. Fun fact, the liberation part means that they're really shitty at sealing things. Continue.
Yeah, they're not very good at it. Yeah, for sure. And of course, right as we get started, XSplit wants to be dumb, so we're just going to kind of jump through here.
Let's go.
Because of course it wouldn't be. We're going to be jumping around quite a bit. We got the greatness that is this double clown spell. Explosive performance of the clowns, 2 red chant, gains remnant as long as there are 3 players in the game. By the way, if there are 4 players in the game, there are 3 players in the game, so it works. Players cannot chase to this card. Each player chooses a player secretly, and then those players are revealed. The player that has been chosen more times than any other, or that is tied for the most chosen, banishes all regalia they control, and this card deals 400 damage to each player for each regalia they banish this way. I mean, like, maybe this is sideboard potential for Wanderer, just to, like, hard answer regalia, I guess. But this is pretty silly.
Yeah, it's definitely a card.
It is an ABC card. Sure. Let's play it. We're gonna be jumping around a lot, and my XSplit's being weird. So next up we have Ryzen and Intel, Electra's Followers, 1-drop quick cast, Clown Gears 4/4 with quick cast, mythic, and flying. 2 more unless they control an armament subruler. So Electra support. Resonator spells with Ryzen or Intel in their name cannot be targeted. So Electra support. Enter, target a fire J/Resonator that doesn't share a name with this card. If you control a card with Electra or one-eyed in its name in a public zone, trigger the chosen target's enter ability. I do want to mention this card has Electras in its name. So this card fulfills its own enter effect condition. So that opens up some lines for re-triggering.
It doesn't share a name with this card.
No. You target a fire J/Resonator that doesn't share a name with this card, but you control a card with Electras in its name because this has Electra in its name. So you still get to trigger the thing that you targeted's enter effect.
Why's that line even there?
It fulfills the condition of having a card with Electra in its name to trigger the enter effect of something that doesn't share the name with this card. So this will always proc the enter effect of whatever you're trying to copy. So, that's the thing. Oh, I guess that is a good point, Dark Hydra. The double red spell could be potentially really good against the tank deck, all the regalia, if she's playing a bunch of tanks. That's fair. That's a fair point.
Thanks for the
Paul, you seem very confused.
Yeah, I understand I understand what you are saying now
Sure.
because, like, I don't know, it was just worded weird
Sure.
or like whatever. Because like the way I read this card was, I'm not gonna be able to trigger my own enter effects, but I'll be able to trigger anything else with an enter effect as long as it has Electra and One-Eyed in its name.
Yeah. So
That's what I'm understanding.
Mamu. So this guy has Electra in its name.
If it's destroyed, the effect doesn't fizzle. Got it.
So it's gonna target a fire J/Resonator that doesn't share its name. That's always what it's trying to trigger.
Right.
Because it has Electras in its name, it will always succeed in meeting that condition of controlling a card with Electra in its name to trigger that other thing's enter effect.
Right. That thing's effect will always happen because this card cannot be targeted and this card exists on the field.
Right.
Understood.
Well, this thing itself can be targeted. It couldn't be targeted while it's on the chase, casting it. Because it says resonator spells with Ryzen or Intel in their name cannot be targeted, which means like while they're on the chase, while they're still a spell,
they can't be targeted.
They can't be targeted. But because it's it's a public zone, even if you kill this, it will still succeed in having a thing with Electra's name in a public zone. Like Dark Hydra said, you have to remove it from face down in response to its own enter effects in order to stop it. Or, just control Electra as a ruler. Like, crazy. That will also serve the condition. So, Electra support.
What other cards have One-Eyed in their name?
Sealed One-Eyed? There's all kinds of... There's probably somewhere. But Sealed One-Eyed, although it doesn't have enter effects. Okay, moving right along. Our last fire card we got was Flaming Upheaval. 4 cost, 1 less to play for each player in the game, so 1 cost on a 4-player board. Choose 2 players. Each player chosen this way gains. If a source you don't control would deal battle damage to you, or a J/Resonator you control, it deals double that much instead until the beginning of the game. If you control a fire, or until the beginning of your next turn, if you control a fire Daimyo J ruler, this card deals 600 damage to each player. So, essentially, you just get to say, hey, you two are going to take double damage. You two are going to take double damage for a bit. So that's interesting. And then it also burns stuff. Can burn the whole board, including yourself, which is very interesting. Yeah. Very neat.
Card seems okay in ABC.
Yeah. Yep, seems like an ABC card.
And even in Wanderer, it's like my opponent and I are both going to take double damage. Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that.
And it costs 2 to do that in Wanderer, so...
yeah, maybe don't do that.
Nope. Base cost 4, so reduced by 2. It's 2 cost. We can count! Next up, we've got our blue ruler in the ABC decks. Again, we're going to be blazing through cards like this. Undine, the Love of the Ocean. The cost of Water Wizard Resonators in their specified cost instead of their specified plus printed cost in all zones. So a Water Wizard that costs 2 blue and 2 void is now 2 blue and will be seen as only costing 2 blue. So dodges Muse Staring At, dodges those kinds of things, right? You may play Water Wizard Resonators as though they have quick cast. Players gain, both players, as an additional cost to play a non-resonator spell, expel a card from your hand or pay 1. Water Wizard spells and Water Wizard Resonators gain whenever this card is targeted by a spell or ability. Cancel that target spell or ability unless its controller pays 1 in all zones. And she can Judgment for 1 blue and 1 void. And then we go to the other side for Undine. She is a 10/11 with Untouchable Barrier Chance. The same kind of thing. She has the discounted cost. The tax is now players gain as an additional cost to play a spell that's not a Water Wizard Resonator spell. So any type of spell that's not a Water Wizard pays 1. Water Wizard Resonators gain +X, where X is the number of chance with different names in your graveyard. Very helpful for ABC. And at the end of your turn, rest all non-Water Wizard Resonators. Resonators rested this way don't recover during their controller's next recovery phase. Wizard Tribal Go is what she's playing to play.
Yeah, this card is absolutely fucking cracked.
So, let's see. I saw some
Team
things
Blue
here.
Wizard.
So, red players will have fun. Undine is cracked. Undine is very, very good, potentially. Please either ban this with Mask, ban Mask, or ban this. I'm fine with a combo ban of the two of them. I also actually legitimately don't know why you would ever play this card with Mask. This is my hot take here, because the biggest advantage she has is that she cares about races in order to be discounted. So if you are sitting on Mask, you don't have water wizards. You just have water cards. So any of the discount is meaningless. Any of the avoiding the taxes is meaningless. Any of the pumps is meaningless. Any of the tap down bonuses is meaningless. And I get the idea of like, oh, she'd be annoying to play. I don't think I would ever actually play a Mask deck. Like, I don't even think I would probably use Mask myself, because I would just be sitting there doing nothing, let alone she doesn't tax activate abilities. And heaven forbid you pair up against another Resonator-based deck, because their Resonators are probably going to be better than yours. So I don't see the point in trying to slam Mask into this deck. I get the precaution of it, I suppose. I just don't think it's worth your time to try to play. So I'm not particularly worried about it. That being said, if they ban, if Mask didn't say this cards lose all races, then I would agree with you. Absolutely. That's like the one weird thing where, like, if they nerfed Mask by making it not lose all races, I would say absolutely combo ban with these. But the loss of water, like the wizard race in all your cards, is actually a detriment to Undine, like in terms of Wanderer competitive viability. You just don't play her cards.
Yeah, you still rest things and you still tax things. And then she's still a 10-11 that can't be targeted by chance.
I mean, like, people are disagreeing with me in the chat, and y'all can disagree with me in the chat. That's totally fine. I just don't think
I see
would
the point. I like it.
Yeah. And the other thing is too is there's
then you're playing blue, guys. Why would you want to do that?
And the other thing too is that, like, you could always, like, this is an interesting conversation we had at Worlds, is like, do the rulers that are released in the ABC deck specifically have to be Wanderer legal? Like, do we make it so Undine is just an ABC ruler? And maybe that's true. Maybe that's what happens, but we'll see what happens out of it. I think overall, I get the apprehension. I am not on the same side as being as apprehensive. That's my take.
My takeaway is that you can play Chronos Envoy and Charlotte Last Hope of Ataraxia for 1 instead of 2.
We get Snapcaster Mage. Spectating Magician, 2-cost blue, Water Wizard, suddenly has Quick Cast. You can recast a spell for 1 that costs 1 from your graveyard for free. Just playing Snapcaster Mage. Whee.
Be good. Let's move on.
Yep, anyway. Moving on. Image file. Going up here, we have our next one. We have the Mermaid's Choral Dance, 2-drop quick cast untouchable mythic. Each player's mythic is weird as and it's an addition, so that makes sense. Quick cast untouchable mythic. Each player's maximum hand size is decreased by 1. At the beginning of each player's main phase, that player chooses another player. If the turn player has less cards in her hand than the chosen player, the turn player draws a card. If the turn player controls a Water Wizard J Ruler, that turn player foresees 2 and draws a card instead. So, group hug. I draw cards, you draw cards. Hooray! This is interesting. It's an ABC card. I don't think it's outside of Wanderer. I don't think it's Wanderer playable, but it's neat in ABC.
It's a
correct. Yep.
Play with Mask, play Ritualist. Opponent cannot play. I mean, again, you pay 1 additional for Resonators. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Whatever.
What Ritualist is he referring to?
I think he's talking about the white one from the Misung one that you can only play monks.
Oh, right.
That, like, taxes non-monks, right? So
Gotcha. Or 2-drop. Remove a Taoist thing.
Yeah.
Attack. Got it.
But then the Mask also says you don't get Taoist, so then it's just like, so then you're stuck with just a single Ritualist. And it's like, I don't know. That seems okay. I just like wouldn't even want to like personally. I wouldn't even want to play that game. Like I wouldn't even want to play that card. It's just like, oh, it's so abysmal. Anyway, moving on. Let's keep talking. We got. We'll see what shakes out with her. Desponia, Heir of the Seven Seas, 5-drop 6/7 with quick cast and mythic. Gains the following text in all zones as long as you grow an Arcana J/Ruler or a Water Wizard J Ruler. Enter, stack up to 6 non-magic stone cards from all graveyards or removed areas face up below this card. Tap, return a card that was stacked below this card to its owner's hand. God's Art, pay 1 blue, expel this card. Spells and abilities you control cannot be targeted by spells or abilities until end of turn. So that's nice. Enter, each player expels all spells they control. So, you know, clear the chase. Chase eraser.
What do you mean?
Cancels.
What do you mean untouchable?
Chase
I'm not targeting
eraser.
anything.
Well, untouchable would
How does that work with untouchable?
untouchable would not do anything because it can't be moved.
Yeah.
Expel is
Okay.
moving it, so it would still dodge untouchable, I
Gotcha.
believe.
So it still can't be moved.
So it still
Ugh,
can't be moved.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Desponia is
alright.
funny when you backs her back to hand along with the stack of cards. Just like take every card. So she's neat.
I like it.
Obviously meant to work better with Untine because then she's a 2-drop instead of a 5-drop.
And gets her enter effects. Ooh.
Crazy. Next up we have Falchion's Fancy Super Bloom. 2 blue plus 4 enchanting skill. You pay 1 less to play for each player in the game. Starting with the next player in clockwise order, each player chooses a non-magic stone, non-J Ruler entity. Cannot choose the same entities you control, so you're safe, right? Or entities that have been chosen this way already. Gain control of up to 2 entities chosen this way. So I mean, that's pretty fun in ABC.
That's very fun.
Like
and it's an enchanting skill.
Yeah,
Very
in
cute.
ABC, just be like, hey, I'm gonna get to take 2 of these things, but you guys get to tell me what I'm gonna take. I think that's pretty fun.
It's very fun.
You
What
should
do you guys want me to have?
You should-
What do you
you should technically always get to have at least one thing that you want because you're the last player to choose, right? So like if people pick the things you don't want, you just pick one of the things that you wanted. And then it's fun.
There you go.
I think that's pretty neat. Then we have Mike. If at any point in time you want me to stop because you have a thought, please just
I
attack
have
it.
no thoughts on the cards that have ABC relevance currently. I haven't played ABC since Worlds.
Fair enough.
last year.
Now we have Blooming Justice, 2 blue and 1, 8/10, untouchable, mythic, flying, barrier, total 2 cost or less. 2 cost or less barrier is way better than 1 cost or less barrier. Consensus, flower or hero. Flower is perform the effect X times. Put a water flower addition token with tap. Change the target of a spell or ability with a single target. Hero is draw 2 cards, then expel a card from your hand. It's a little card selection. And God's Art for 0. If you expelled a card from your hand this turn, J/Resonators cannot attack until the end of this next turn. So that's pretty cool. The end of the next turn. Like, oof. That's a lot.
Yes.
Pseudo negates. Yeah. Blooming Justice giving a flower that pseudo negates. Yeah, very interesting. Moving right along. Next up, we have a card that we have already been informed is going to have a slight errata. Just
It
for
wouldn't be a forceful set without it. Baby.
it's for Claire. What I've been told is that it's like the most tiniest errata you've ever seen, and it's just to prevent a major issue. So 2 cost elemental wizard, 2/4 mythic flying. See if you can spot the problem, Mike, before the errata.
That's it.
Enter. Choose 2 players to be referenced by other abilities of this card until the end of the game. Whenever one of the chosen players draws any number of cards, the other chosen player draws the same number of cards. Until end of turn, the chosen player cannot draw cards in a phase other than the draw phase. Tap, target player draws a card, then puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. Mike, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to see if you can guess what the problem is with this card pre-errata. 10, 9, 8,
Oh my god,
7,
it's just infinitely draws
6.
between the two of them.
That
huh?
is correct. You force your opponent to deck out because the 2 of you infinitely draw.
Oh,
So
my
what we have been told is we don't know the exact phrasing, but we have been told that the errata for it will prevent the infinite draws. Like it will not be possible. So, uh, to me, honestly, the easiest one. This is gonna be seems so silly. The easiest way you fix this is you literally add the letters I and R to the before draw phase, so it says their draw phase, and you solve the loop. Because then the player who's not turn player only gets to draw one card and then stops the loop because they then can't draw again because it's not their draw phase, right? So like that, it stops the loop. Is the errata going to be that small? Maybe, but that solves the problem. Like literally add 2 letters. So
Either that or whenever one of the no, even one of the players drawing exactly one card, the other player drawing the same number of cards does it. It literally it has to be
yeah,
exactly that.
yeah. If you do that small change, you break the loop, and essentially what it means would be that turn player draws 2 cards and the non-turn player draws 1, and so then you just stop the loop. Again, water group hug kind of stuff going on, which is very interesting to introduce into ABC.
Just let's have a 1-mana deck out.
Benefits your in the 4-man pod. It benefits the person who can't target you. Right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice.
Yep. Effectively can hand rip a card from your opponent every turn with the. Oh, sure. To like after they've already drawn, like one of the indicated players, like after they've already drawn, tap it to force them to put a card back. That's very true. That's very possible.
That's cute.
Massive Misdirection is our blue-red multicolor card. Quick cast untouchable, costs 2 more if it's not 3 or more players. Critical, perform the following effect 2 times. Copy a spell or automatic ability choosing new topics. Failed, change the target of spell or ability with a single target. Then it gains untouchable as long as it's in the chase area, so then it can't be stopped. Tie, expel this card as it resolves. This card is mid, even in ABC. It gives something to blue red that is multicolor and consensus. Play it in there because you can. Good job.
Or don't.
Or don't. Yeah, also possible. Or don't.
Or yeah. Worst mirror force.
Yeah. Interestingly, yeah. They can't all be bangers. Next up we have more blue cards. We have Cyclone, the Armored Wonder Boy. 1 blue, 2/4 quick cast mythic. Play this card. May pay 2 more to play this card unless the number of cards in your graveyard is equal or higher than the number of cards in each other graveyard. So you have to have more stuff burnt before you can cast this for 1. Enter, target a non-resonator spell. Its controller expels it unless they pay X, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Gross. Pay 1 blue. Pay 1 blue. Discard a card. Draw a card to put a +1/+1 counter on this card, and it gains untouchable flying or eternal until end of turn. Cyclone said, "I know y'all thought I was stupid. I'm back."
I'm good now.
Yeah, this is this is a very good card. Even in Wanderer, this card is very good.
This card is very good in particularly Loki antibodies.
Oh, God. I don't... stop. Anyway, moving on to the other Falchion card. This, I mean, he's legitimately Wanderer playable. Like, obviously, he's not going to be like usable. Right, he's not immediately usable right out the gate, but you could play into a like burning your own hands advantage kind of thing. He plays really well with 2-drop Falchion, right? Because 2-drop Falchion wants to be like burning its hand, so it probably has a bigger discard than your opponent. It could play really nicely with like a graveyard hate deck or something. Like, there's a lot of things that could be done with this card to make it very, very good. Speaking of more Cyclone cards, what if we just reset the game? Cyclone's Justice. 3 cost, gains Remnant as long as there are 3 or more players in the game. Each player chooses a player secretly. Then those players are revealed. The player that has been chosen more times or tied for the most times returns all non-Magic Stone, non-Jade Ruler entities they control to its owner's hand, discards their hand, then draws up to 7 cards, and if you have been chosen this way, produce 3 blue. This is literally pay 3 will, reset the game. Because in Wanderer, this is pay 3 will, reset the game. Because I can choose me, and then my opponent will also probably choose me, or will choose themselves, because they're probably not going to choose me twice. Or maybe they choose me twice. Cast this card. My opponent is probably going to pick me because they don't want to lose their board. So I will just also pick my opponent. So then both of us bounce everything back to our hands, discard our whole hands, draw 7 cards, and then I produce the 3 will that are the will that I played for this card. So in Wanderer, this is a 3 mana reset the game. So that's neat.
Reset the game in your favor.
Yeah. Imagine drawing into this to play it again. Just
Oh God.
draw all 4.
Are we having fun yet?
Are we playing
fun
Mill,
yet?
boys? We're playing Mill.
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Let's bring a legit Mill strategy into this. Burns 20. If you cast all 4 of them, it burns 28 cards out of your opponent's deck. So, that's the thing.
Hopefully y'all are playing Typhon.
Speaking of, we'll get to him in a minute. So pretty neat. Next up we have the Reflection of the Sea or Rejection of the Sea. 5-drop. Gets discounted for every player in the game with quick cast. Choose 2 players. Each player chosen this way shuffles a non-Magic Stone, non-Jade Ruler entity they control into their hand. If you control a Water Wizard, each chosen player shuffle the card into their deck. This way reveals the top card of their deck. If the player reveals a Resonator or an Addition or Regalia card this way, that player may pay without paying its cost. So it's this neat, let's just see what we get kind of a spell, which I think is interesting. I kind of think it's better without the Water Wizard piece, right? Because I don't know. Because then they don't get anything back out of it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's literally anything other than a chant, they get it for free. I guess you could use it on your own thing, too, so that you could, turn a tiny thing into a big thing. Is a world, I suppose.
Yeah, I think you play this for 1 and then play your Water Wizard J Ruler. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't play your Water Wizard Ruler. Don't convoke them out.
And then play this.
Yet.
Yeah. For sure.
Sequence it correctly.
Moving right
I'm
along.
just gonna play a deck of a bunch of 10 drops and just
Let's roll it, baby. Let's
No, I'm just
go.
gonna slam jam it.
Slam it.
Slam jam a hook
It's
on
me
it
out.
for free.
This is just Schrodinger's box 3.0, right? Next up we have the Divine Beast of Re-Earth, 1 red, 1 color, or 1 red, 1 green. The consensus belligerence 0/6. Aggression means that it gets X +1/+1 counters, or it gets plus 300 for every player who shows aggressive, and it also, you get to choose. You get to pick plus 300 attack, precision, multi-strike, or pierce for each player that shows aggressive. And peaceful, you get the following effect Y times. You get a 2/3 Fire Wind Divine Beast Spirit Resonator with multi-strike into the field. And you can pay a red or a green, plus banish this card to recover all Resonator tokens you control. So that's pretty neat. The recover all Resonator tokens you control side of it is pretty neat. That side of it is good. The other effects, meh. I'm not, in ABC, sure, because you're getting the most value off of it with 4 people getting to choose. In Wanderer, it's not a ton. There's not a ton of value there.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. You're always getting at least 1.
Yeah.
You're always getting at least the +3, the precision, the multi-strike, or the peers.
Right, because yours just
And
probably
you
going to choose
in
that,
Wanderer can well, it's how many players chose aggressive +1.
Yeah. Sure. That's fair.
So you're always getting, if you choose aggressive, you're always getting at least 2 of those effects.
Yeah, that's true. Next up, we
That was
have.
So it's
definitely a recovery
fine.
list.
Yeah, it's like
Fine.
better in Wanderer than it is in ABC, or better in ABC than it is in Wanderer. Belial Tech
There
card.
you go.
That's a neat idea. Belial Tech card.
Mm.
I did think about that.
Okay,
Some
Gnome
of Belial.
with his hammer axe. You cannot have more than one copy of any non-basic Magic Stone card in your Magic Stone deck. You pay green less to place Wind Spirit Resonators of total cost 2 or more, like the Cancel Wind Spirit. Pay 0 to recover this card. Target Spirit, Ruler, or Wind Spirit J/Resonator only once per turn and only during another player's turn. God's Art of 1 green and 1 colorless. Expel a Magic Stone. If you do, search your Magic Stone deck for 2 basic Magic Stones and put them into the field rested. Then shuffle your Magic Stone deck. Judgment for white or red and green and 1. Only if you control a Magic Stone named Spirit Stone. And on his other side, he has 13. He's a big boy. 15/15 with Pierce, Barrier, total cost 2 or less. And he has, it looks like Floration. If you would produce will with a basic Magic Stone, you produce this will plus green. If you do banish that Magic Stone, you can only apply the effect of 1 Floration ability once per turn and only once per turn. Wind Spirit Resonators you control gain +5/+5. That seems insane as a buff. Pay 1 green to recover target Wind Spirit Resonator or Wind Spirit J Ruler or Wind Spirit Resonator. Play this ability only once per turn. Search deck for a Wind Spirit Resonator of total cost 3 or less and put it into the field. If you search your deck, shuffle it. Play this ability only once per turn. So I would like to note we have a 3-drop Cancel Wind Spirit that has been fringe playable way back in Dime, but if you consider she suddenly becomes a 2-drop or gets cheated out from the deck, and oh, by the way, is a spirit, suddenly that seems pretty dang good.
It was a native 8/8, if I recall.
Yeah.
So on the
Yeah.
flip side, she's a 13/13 that canceled our Resonator spell. Seems good.
Yeah. And her awakening, but all the way, you can probably awaken her by recovering him after calling Stone during her opponent's turn, and then tapping him to pay the awakening cost of her so she can cancel any type of spell. So, that's pretty good. There's something there with Wind Spirits. There's definitely something there with Wind Spirits. It's neat. Next up, we're cruising. We got this is Mr. Living Oak, 10-drop Mythic Pierce Barrier from non-fire, so fire burns the tree. Who would have thought? 2/15 Wind Folk J/Resonators you control gain +X, where X is the number of entities with Wind Magic Stone type. He gains the following text in all zones as long as you control an Arcana J Ruler or the Wind Spirit guy. So if you're playing Gnome priority, you pay 1 less to play this card for each entity with Wind Magic Stone type, and enter. Put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into the field. At end of turn, put a 2/2 Wind Spirit with Barrier, non-parrot. So he just generates tokens every turn. And also gets insanely cheap, insanely fast.
And you can only hurt it with fire.
The green Chrono Gear that taps to generate a token that counts as a Wind Magic Stone would like a word. Will help to make this guy come out very, very quickly. And if we're talking about generating a lot of tokens, suddenly the red-green guy makes a lot more sense. So, that's the thing. I'm going to quickly remove a bunch of these cards real quick so we can kind of get a bunch of, so I don't crash stuff.
Oh, and they get buffed by the J Ruler.
Yeah, because they're Wind Spirits.
So then they're 7/7s you can't kill unless you have fire.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, image file. Next up.
Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire. Next up, we have a unicorn. Gray Steps, the last unicorn. 1-drop, 2/4, Beast Spirit with Mythic and Barrier. Enter, choose 2 players to be referenced by the abilities of this card. Whenever one of the chosen players produces any amount of will from a non-Magic Stone, non-will coin token source, so dudes, or something like that, the other player produces 1 green. The chosen player cannot produce will from a non-Magic Stone, non-will coin token source until end of turn. You have a mana dork? That's cute. Thank you for the free mana. Tap, produce green. Oh, hey! J/Resonators your opponent controls cannot attack this card until the beginning of the next turn. So a barrier unattackable mana dork. That's neat.
Seems
That's neat.
good.
That seems good.
Seems very good.
Yeah, for sure.
Been a while since we had a green mana dork.
Mana dork.
Doesn't this also ramp your opponent?
It would give you, the idea would probably be in ABC that you would target the player that's not your opponent. So like kitty corner to you. Like a lot of these cards suddenly reinforce the bond of the diag. Like I'm going to help you to help myself. And that's just what we're going to be doing, right? Which I think is interesting. It's an interesting space. Next up, we got our Killua. We have Wildest Predator. Mythic, Pierce, Eternal, Consensus, Beast, or Dinosaur. Perform the following effect X times, or X is the number of players that chose Beast. Quadruple the attack and defense of this card until the end of the game. And so it could become an 8/8 with only one person, right? Dinosaur. This card deals damage equal to its attack to a J/Resonator, and then you recover a dinosaur entity. So that's neat. Paul, can you quickly look up whether the original Killua is a dinosaur? Like
I do not believe she is.
If she
The original?
is, like the ruler, we're going to talk about her in a second because I just realized I need to pull up the
original ruler.
The rework of her real fast. So
you also need to talk about the first acorn of summer.
We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
We got stuff to cover. Again, we're kind of doing it live. And then pay 1 green, non-dinosaur resonators in the field before this ability resolved. Lose all abilities until end of game. So a nice little mini, like Dark Hydra says, Dino Surrogate. And this is interesting. We're doing this a little bit live as I go try to find this card real fast.
Yes, by the way, she is a dinosaur.
So the interesting thing about the fact that she's a dinosaur here is the fact that it sets her up to be able to call stone, play this card, and then set up Divine Lightning. So that's neat for mastery. So neat. I like it a lot. And this card is also a 2-drop dinosaur, which will work nicely for Terror in the Ice. So, seems pretty good. The last acorn of summer. Nope, that's Killua's tiger tail thing. What is the last acorn of summer? What did I miss there? Anyway, we're going to talk about...
It's an addition.
Okay, we're going to talk about it. Killua's tiger tail caress. Costs 1 less for each player in the game. Starting with the next player in clockwise order, we choose a secret player. Players cannot choose themselves in this way. Each player that has been chosen more times or equal to chosen player gains 400 life for each magic stone they control and draws 2 cards. Sorry. Each player that has been chosen more times than any effect gains 400 life, and then you draw 2 cards. So a little life healing group hug ABC card. There's a group hug deck coming for ABC. It's probably blue-green. It's gonna be weird, and we're gonna look into it. I'm gonna try to find this card that I missed for recovering Killua.
I sent it to you.
For recovering Killua, the card says recover. Oh, it does. It's an entity. You're right. Oh, she's not an entity. Rulers aren't entities. Blah.
Come on, Jeremy. We've been over this.
I know.
CR.
I know. I'm sorry.
Every week, and I own you, man. Every week. Are rulers entities? No.
Nope. It's too low.
So then J rulers aren't entities. No, J rulers are in the field. They are.
J rulers are entities. Yeah.
I thought rulers weren't entities. You're right. Rulers
are not.
J rulers are entities because they are in the field.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm assuming you sent me the photo via Facebook. Okay, I do have this card.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think I just missed where it was. Again, so many cards. Okay. First acorn of spring, like it's 9:43 and we're maybe half done as we're like barreling through these. First acorn of the summer, 2 green edition, Mythic Barrier Chant. Cannot move face down cards from a removed area to another zone. At the beginning of each player's main phase, the turn player chooses another player. The turn player controls less resonators. They reveal the cards from the top of their deck till they reveal a resonator and put that resonator into the field. Then removes each other card removed this way from the game face down. If the turn player controls a Wind Spirit J Ruler and the revealed Resonator is a spirit, turn player puts it into the field instead. So you don't lose all the other cards, essentially, is what I can see this
We
being.
have Oath of Druids and Force of Will. It only took us 10 years.
I do have a question though, like if I reveal until I hit, where do the other ones go? Do they go? It doesn't say that. If
Yes.
like
Sure.
like it doesn't say if I have the Wind Spirit where the other ones go. I'm assuming bottom
Yes.
of deck. I'm assuming bottom of deck.
I'm also assuming bottom of deck.
I'm gonna also
No,
assume
CR
bottom.
update coming.
Yeah.
They just go to wherever you want them to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Eat them. I don't know.
Oh, that's very funny. No, all of the spells go into the field. These chants, they're in the field now too.
Perfect.
There you go.
It's Oath of Druids. Perfect.
There you go.
Triggers its enter effect.
Yeah, the chance enter effect is its chant ability. It goes to the graveyard via rules process because it doesn't have text, because it doesn't have stats.
Perfect.
Heart of the Dark Forest, one less card for each. Choose 2 players, each player chosen this way. Searches their Magic Stone deck for a basic Magic Stone and puts it into the field. Rested, then shuffles their Magic Stone deck. If you control a Wind Spirit, each player chosen this way recovers up to 2 basic Magic Stones they control with different names. So this one is interesting to me. I actually kind of really like this one in Wanderer for Gnome. Because Gnome's already playing, like, think of it this way. Gnome's already playing basics. He wants to play basics. That's the whole point, right? You get to choose 2 players. The likelihood that your opponent is playing basic Magic Stones is probably pretty low. So if they don't have a basic Magic Stone to search for, this just becomes search a stone, refund its cost. And for Gnome wanting to have more stones, that seems really good. Like, I think Gnome plays this at 4 in Wanderer. Like, legitimately.
It's probably the only way it actually
It's
gets
like
played
rewriting
before.
laws.
Yeah, it's rewriting
Crazy.
laws for Gnome. Like, I don't know. That just seems... I mean,
Or
they
like
do have...
sacred burial for basic stones.
Yeah, I think this card seems fine.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood that your
I'm-
opponent is going to be playing basics is probably pretty low. Unless you're paired against another Gnome player. And then you're going to be like, well, I guess we both just
I'm-
get stones
No
here.
mirror, let's go.
I'm less convinced this is that good compared to Magic Stone analysis, personally speaking.
Sure.
But
I
Oh,
would
yeah,
argue...
this is just Magic Stone analysis.
Magic Stone analysis only recovers, like, it puts a stone into play recovered, but this card technically gets you a stone and then refunds its cost. So
So it's free?
it's actually like free as opposed to like 1 will cast, right?
Yeah.
So why not both? Gnome probably plays
Why not?
both, right? You could
Probably.
and
you could like
throw a Blessed Finger Stone there. Fuck it.
I
Who
mean the
cares?
interesting thing is if Gnome opens like all 4 of these, Gnome could just cast all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Wait, does Gnome want multiple different types of basic Magic Stones or just basic Magic
You
Stones?
would only really need to care about having 2 different basic Magic Stones. So that
Finals time. Let's go. Let's do it.
Gretel specifically needs wind basic Magic Stones, though.
I know.
Yes.
Let me dream, Jeremy.
Oh,
Continue on.
Dream away, my friend. I won't stop you. We got to keep moving. So many cards. We haven't even gotten to any
So
of the
many
darkness
cards.
cards. We haven't even gotten to Kilo yet. God dang, we have so much time. Let's talk about Kilo's best friend, Gone. Kilo's best friend.
I get the reference.
Hey, jokes. 2-drop 4/4 Dinosaur. Pays 2 more to play this card unless you control 2 Magic Stones with a Magic Stone type. So that seems insanely easy to accomplish. Because it doesn't say basic Magic Stone type. It's just 2 stones with Magic Stone types. Gains plus
Easy.
16. Gains plus 6/15, plus 6/15, Pierce, and Eternal. So 20/20. If you control 5 Magic Stones with a Magic Stone type and different names. Ooh. Enter, reveal the top card of your Magic Stone deck. If it has a Magic Stone type, put it into the field rested. This is better Gretel. Search your Magic Stone deck for a card, shuffle the rest of your Magic Stone deck, and put that card on top of it. Because this doesn't care if it's a special or not. It just needs to have a Magic Stone type.
That's fucked up. That's
This
really
card is
good.
very good. It comes into play
Oh.
tapped. It comes into play tapped. But then you get to go guarantee what your next stone is. So like, seems pretty good to me.
Like his little mustache.
Like his little
You like the mustache.
Like a little spiky mustache.
She's
This
a-
card's very good. Like this card is Wander
good boy.
replayable. Like insanely
card's
Card is
Wander.
fucked
very
up.
good.
Like, come on.
This card is very, very good. It's very, very good.
I understood the reference too, so that makes me cool.
You are, hey Mike, let no one tell you you are not cool. You are
That's
very
what
cool.
my mom said to me too. She thinks
Jumping
I'm
and
cool.
shouting is our next card. Gains remnant in all zones as long as there are 3 players. Each player chooses a player secretly. Target to remove from the game face down up to X target additions. That player that has been chosen the most or is tied for the most controls, where X is the number of players in the game. You must choose as many targets as you can. So we got 4 players. We're going to be bouncing 4 additions. Up to 4 additions. I honestly think this is probably even like sideboard Wanderer playable. Like if you're playing into a heavy addition format, because if your opponent is playing a lot of additions, this becomes 1-drop bounce 2 additions back to their hand. Because you can just choose your opponent, and then your opponent will choose you. And as long as you aren't playing additions, your opponent is the only one who gets hit by this. So like this seems pretty sideboardable based on what the format shapes up to be.
They get RFG face down.
Oh, even better that they're just
Yeah.
axed.
They're not even bouncing. They're just gone. Bye.
Yeah, that's the other thing too about Gon is you can get it off of Terror in the ice because he's a dinosaur,
Super good.
and then he ramps, and then it turns Terror in the ice into ramp. So that's funny.
I'm still talking Dust Girl. Discard him, deal 7, swap him back in.
Yeah.
He's a dino. He
Dino.
costs 2, so you can March of the Dead, I think.
Yeah, March of the
is
Dead.
one cost, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
March of the Dead.
It's easy. It's easy. It builds itself.
Cute crap.
Speaking of
Good stuff.
Killua, let's talk about her because
Let's
she
talk
was
Killua.
announced to be released in this deck, specifically in the red-green
With the
one.
Rondas.
So the updated text of Killua, partner 1 Moonchild, which we knew was coming. You cannot have non-dino resonators in your deck. Sorry, Persephone, Garion, and Lorite. As the game starts, or as this game is convoked, you get 6 ice counters on it. If an effect would increase the attack or defense of non-dinosaur J/resonators you control, it does not increase it instead. Sorry, sideboard Rogue Spectator and Shiva. You can't get pumped by gas. And at the end of turn, if an ice counter was removed from this card this turn, draw a card. So it's not card per ice counter, it's card if ice counter. And only 1 at end of turn. This is tier 1 playable.
Yeah.
I think absolutely playable.
Sure.
Like, yeah, assuming she leaves the ban list with 0 combos, she is still a strong ruler. Heaven forbid they also give her Disrupting Shout back. I'm not even sold that I want to give her that back. Wall of Wind is still on the ban list. Let's not give one ruler a Wall of Wind that cantrips. But this is incredibly playable.
Fair.
You can still play Burn Killua. You can't play Metal Lifeform Dragons or Roamers. Like that side of Burn Killua is gone. Like you have to play Chant Burn Killua, but you can keep your card advantage up. You can still play Dino Aggro Killua. You can still play. You can 100% play Bradlua because
Listen,
the Brad and Killua resonator is a
I
dinosaur, and you can play Bradlua control of this.
I will forever tote Derek Muguneza's Kilo list.
It ain't got no gas in it.
It's basically just mid-range reanimator. Ain't got no gas in it.
As long as it's dinos, and you got a bunch of new dinos. So, like, I legitimately think that they did a great job with this rework. It brings her back in a way that feels good. It's very thematic. It still has a lot of flexibility in how you can play it. It makes use of a lot of her other tools. Megiddo, the addition, is still very, very good with this. It takes away the problems that we had with her of let's just splash generic resonators into the deck that draws a million cards. But still has aggressive strats and still has good pressure. She can't play Shooting Star Killua because she isn't a dino. That's true. She can't play the 1-drop dino for some reason that's not a dino. But she can play Bradlua, and as a control player, Bradlua is what I would want her to be able to play. So that's okay with me because I also then get the extension rule that lets me kill something every time I Judgment Brad. So, it's nice.
Yay.
Hooray.
Hooray.
We gotta keep going. We gotta keep moving.
We gotta go.
All right, let's go.
We got I think we are into black cards now. We've got Zombie
Temporal
returning.
Vortex.
Oh yes, Temporal Vortex. Let me go to that. Image file. So again, there's so many cards. I also missed Clown or Jack-o'-lantern. We'll go back to him as well.
Oh,
Temporal Vortex,
Jack-
blue and green. As an additional cost to play this card, pay 2 in all zones as long as there are 3 players in the game. Consensus is future or past. Future is take an extra turn after this one and then expel it. Past is search your deck for a resonator total cost 2x or less, where X is the number of players in this game minus 1. Then shuffle your deck. Put this card into its owner's hand as it resolves. And tie is expel this card as it resolves. This is interesting to me. In in Wanderer, this becomes a 4-drop get a 1-drop resonator.
Don't do it.
So don't do that. In ABC, it becomes a 2-drop get a 3-drop resonator on repeat, because the likelihood that your ABC opponents ever let you take an extra turn is non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent.
Bad, Jeremy.
So
Move
this
on to the next one.
this is just a repeatable 2-drop grab a 3-drop. I think in ABC that's pretty cool. Like
That's pretty good.
because it goes back to your hand if you get the past variant. So
We got to go back.
we gotta go back.
Back.
Gotta
Best
go back.
Samurai Jack. Watch out.
Okay, moving on. We did talk about. I'm gonna just quickly hit on Zombie returning from the Pyramid of the Dead. It's a rework. It enter. It still mills 2, and then it has Evil Dead. Remind you can only play 1 Evil Dead ability per turn. If this card was put into your graveyard from the deck without being searched, you pay 1 black, and then put it into. You can then play this card from your graveyard without paying its cost. Play only 1 Evil Dead ability per turn, and only if this card's in your graveyard. So you can't just zombie into zombie into zombie into zombie. Like, it's your 1 Evil Dead for the turn, and you get 1 zombie. So a fine rework.
Upsetting that they didn't run out the name. Continue on though.
Zombie from the Pyramid from the Dead.
Ugh.
So long. Next up, we have Jack-o'-lantern. Again, we're going to be jumping around a lot here. It's the red-black consensus card with Bane, consensus trick or treat. Trick, 100 damage to up to XJ/resonators, where X is the number of players that chose Trick multiplied by 2. And Treat, each player loses Y100 life, and you gain Y100 life, where Y is the number of players that chose this by 2. So either you drain people or you ping stuff. And for 1 red or 1 black and paying 1,000 life, banish this card, and then reanimate it at the next end of turn. And then it makes it so you can't gain life until the end of the turn if you do that. So you're probably picking Trick. Right? It makes
The scariest thing about this card.
Very important. She jack on my lantern till I holler, "Ween!"
The scariest thing about this card is that this card semi-confirmed that consensus works by flickering, which is more scary than anything printed on this card.
Yeah. So when he reanimates himself, he re-triggers consensus. So
scary.
Yay.
For reasons later to be discussed.
Oh God, I'm gonna yell so much about that card.
So scary later.
Next up, we have Garmhel, the Undead Regent, the Darkness New Ruler. You cannot have non-skeleton, non-zombie resonators in your deck, which is a good thing for Wanderer, for what you'll see later. At the end of your turn, put a card named Demonic Dead or Niflheim from your hand or graveyard into the field. At the end of your opponent's turn, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the graveyard. Evil Dead, pay 1 black. Put target resonator from your graveyard without play target resonator from its graveyard without paying its cost. You lose X100 life, where X is the target's total cost plus 3. So if that didn't have the restriction, then you could coin Garion by just going coin Mikage Rhea, go to my turn, Evil Dead Garion. So I'm really glad that's not a thing. I'm really glad that's not a thing. They won't be as useful as they should be. Maybe. We'll see. Judgment for 2 black, or black and 1. Only if you control 4 cards with the pinch ability Evil Dead in all zones. So you're wanting to be milling your own deck out, which makes a lot of sense. And next up we have, on its other side, we have the Lich King. 614. Bane, Eternal Imperishable, non-skeleton, non-zombie resonator, J resonators tokens enter the field rested. You may play 2 additional Evil Dead abilities per turn. That's 300% increase of Evil Dead abilities, which seems a lot. Enter, put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into the field. An imperishable that ramps, not rested, by the way. not
Pretty
rusted.
good.
Evil Dead, played target resonator from your graveyard without paying its cost. You lose 500 life, where it's total cost +1 instead of +3. And God's Art of Rise, double black. Recover each resonator with the printed ability Evil Dead. Resonators recovered this way gain +600 attack until the end of the turn. Swing, God Art, swing.
There you go. This is Faria now. Oh my god.
Remember Faria?
The OG Faria.
Yeah.
Swing with everything. God's Art. Swing again.
Yeah. Speaking of Demonic Dead, we've seen him before, so I'm just going to put him up very tiny on the screen. So we don't even have to talk about his text. I'm not even going to put him full screen, full size, because I'm just going to leave him there tiny.
There he is.
He's there. He's there. Swordsman of Niflheim, 1 black, 1 precision bane. Enter. Choose 2 players to be referenced by the abilities of this card. Whenever one of the abilities players banishes an entity, the other also banishes with the same type. They cannot banish entities by effects of spells or abilities they don't control. So essentially, you each get to lose one thing and then can't for the rest of the turn. Evil Dead is tap. Target player banishes a non-Magic Stone, non-J ruler entity. This honestly is very, very good in ABC format because you can just pick 2 players that aren't you and then just sit on this. I'm going to make you each sack a thing. Like,
Super good.
in Wanderer, that's kind of mid. In ABC format, like, damn, this is pretty good.
Yeah, because now it's hitting 2 of your opponent's cards.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that seems very good.
Which helps your diagonal once again.
Yeah, again,
Very
helps
nice.
your diagonal, right? Got to protect the diag. Next up, we have. Oh, we're still in ABC cards. We haven't even gotten into main set. There's so much to talk about main set. The Doubt, the Priest of the Dark Truths, 4 cost 3/7 Mythic Bane, prevent all damage that will be dealt to this card by sources you don't control. Your opponent loses X hundred life, where X is the damage prevented this way. By the way, that includes by damage or by combat. Hooray! Block a big thing, kill it. Your opponent loses the life of the attack that you like. What is this magic cylinder on a body? Like,
Cool.
this card gains the following text in all zones as long as you control an Arcana or Darkness Skeleton. At the end of turn, draw a card. You lose 300 life. Put a 1/1 Darkness Skeleton Resonator token into the field. It's the end of every turn, by the way. Evil Dead, put this card from your graveyard into the field. Only during each player's main phase. Only 1 Evil Dead ability per turn. So he just keeps coming back. This card also seems very good. Like, maybe even Wanderer playable. Like, I don't know. So here, I've been playing, like, specifically only in Lich because they did a good job there with, like, honestly, even maybe not just in Lich. So, because, hear me out. I'm playing Adine, right? Adine is the ruler who says your opponent can't gain any life, and I want to be playing the drain gain anyway. And he can't deal battle damage to your opponent, right? He can't deal non-battle damage to your opponent. I'm gonna play Dark Alice, discard this guy, reanimate him for 1 black, and then block. I'm gonna not take any damage. This guy's not gonna die. Your thing's going to die, and then I'm going to drain you for the life of the thing, which, because I'm Adine and you can't gain life, is significant. Like, this guy honestly might see play in Adine. Seems very good.
Not bad.
Jeremy, unfortunately, I do have to peace out.
Bye, Mike. Go have food.
Bye, Mike. Eat your food.
Peace out, everyone. I'm glad I got to ruin your nights.
You didn't ruin our nights. It's okay, buddy. Bye.
Oh, hardly.
I was talking to chat. Bye.
Bye. Okay, now I have to fix the camera stuff.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second.
I'm still here. I've
You're
been eating my dinner the whole time.
the whole time. It's just because there's
It's
so
been
many,
here.
It's just because there's so many cards, man. It's like that's
So many
why,
stinking cards.
why did I go to Worlds? Why did I go commentate Worlds? Shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake.
Correct.
That was not a mistake. I had such a good time at Worlds, and I bought so much stuff for myself and for FowFest. Okay. So yeah, I think this card's very good. I think I would, like I said, I think I would legitimately play him in Adine. or any kind of like life loss drain deck because he just keeps coming back. And then if you're not playing an Arcana Ruler or whatever, like sure, I don't get to draw a card, but I also am not losing 300 life. So like, seems pretty good. Unless the Evil Dead ability, unless he doesn't gain Evil Dead but because there's that like paragraph break, I don't think it would work. I think it still has Evil Dead regardless. We'll get clarification on that. But if he
important.
if he gets the Evil Dead ability, even if you're not a Darkness Skeleton J ruler, this guy is very, 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 very good. Magic Cylinder, repeatable Magic Cylinder on legs seems pretty solid.
Seems okay.
Next up, we have Commandment of the Lich. 3 cost for each player in the game, so 1 cost. Choose 2 players. Each player chosen this way discards a card at random. Each player discarded a card this way searches their deck for a card, shuffles the rest of them, and put it on top of their deck. You control a Darkness Skeleton J ruler. Each player chosen this way then draws a card. Darkness Group Hug? I think this card is really interesting. I don't know. You'd have to like find a way to make it so your opponent can't draw a card. To make this card like good. This feels, at least in Wanderer. In ABC, this is, hey, you and I are both gonna go grab a thing, and that's okay. It's a lot more like again, it's that like social element piece, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly times where if I were to do this to my diagonal buddy, there are lots of cards in ABC that can just be dead because
Right.
you're like waiting for an opportunity. So it's like in a lot of ways the discard is a lot less.
Right.
And so then you just get to choose a card.
Right.
So I'm like, get rid of a dead card, get a card that I want. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's terrible in Wanderer.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't do it.
Next up, we have Reinhardt's Statue Fall. 1 less for each player in the game. So starting with the next player in clockwise order, each player chooses a player. Players cannot be chosen more than twice. Players cannot choose you more than once. So if there's a bunch of players, you probably aren't going to be tied for the most. Each player discards X cards, where X is the number of times they have been chosen this way, multiplied by 2. Each player loses Y100 life, where Y is the number of cards they discarded this turn. So the idea being that like you'll only ever discard 2 cards off of this if your opponents pick you, but your opponents could discard 6 cards, like if 3 people pick it. This card is kind of mean. It's like very targeted. Yeah. This card is, who is the threat right now? Let's answer that. Let's just all pick that one person to make them discard a million cards. So this is a no fun card in APC, but I get it.
Yeah, this is a rage quit card.
Yeah, this is.
Why'd you all pick me?
I'm mad. Yeah, for sure. Next up, we have the Cemetery of the Brave Rose. I think it's Brave Rose, Black Rose. It's a grave edition, which will make sense in a minute. 2-drop mythic. When this card is put from your graveyard from your deck, put into your graveyard from your deck. If you control a Darkness Skeleton, it gets to go into the field. So it like reanimates essentially. So Mikage Rhea or something to mill sends it. Beginning of each player's main phase, the turn player puts the top card of their deck into the graveyard, then chooses another player. If that player has more resonators in their turn player's graveyard than the chosen player's graveyard, the turn player puts a resonator from their graveyard on the top of their deck. If the turn player controls the Darkness Skeleton J/ruler, the turn player puts that resonator into the field. So the idea is, if your graveyard is more full than your opponent, you're going to send a card from your deck to the graveyard and then reanimate a thing for free every turn. So, seems pretty good. Yeah. And your opponent then gets to like have a chance to also do that, or like buy back a resonator for their next draw or whatever. Again, it's benefit for the table that gets better benefit if you're playing the right ruler. So, speaking of grave editions, Sigurd. Wee.
Oh, hey.
Sigurd back. 8/8 zombie resonators gain Bane. Enter, search your deck for a grave edition and put it into the field. Evil Dead of pay 1 green, 1 black. Play this card from your graveyard without paying its cost. Only during main timing. This card's fine. This is a perfect way to bring back Sigurd. It makes it so he can actually be interacted with in the graveyard because it's not putting him on the chase when you try to cast him. You like put the activate ability to try to make it so you can cast him on the chase. So like Grave Hate still works against him, which was the problem with him before. And Sacrificial Altar is not a grave. So
Correct.
helpful.
Very, very good.
Helpful. And you can only buy him back once per turn, which is also very relevant.
Niflheim is a grave.
Niflheim is also a grave, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yep. Digging through. We're almost to the end of the ABC stuff. Then we can get into the actual set 5 stuff.
Stony King?
Working on it. Yeah. Stony King. 4/6 Mythic Drainbane, Ethereal or King. Ethereal is each other player banishes a Resonator. Each player that didn't banish a Resonator loses 400 life. King, each other player discards a card and loses 200 life. God Art, Deathly Star's Absorption. For 1 black, each player expels their graveyard. You gain Z100 life, where Z is the number of cards expelled this way. So think about it in Wanderer format. This is a 2-drop. Force your opponent to discard a card and lose 200 life, banish a Resonator, or lose 4. On its face as a 2-drop with Drain and Bane, pretty good. Pretty decent card. So, yeah, I like this card a lot. I think it's nice. It's probably not like super Wanderer playable, but maybe it is. I don't know. I think it's better in ABC, but playable in Wanderer. It's also an Ethereal, which is nice. So then it can get bumped up by all your other Ethereal goodness, right? Yeah, it's not insane. It's not insane, but that's okay. They don't have to.
Tool.
Yeah, just another tool. Oh, I'm trying to.
Suksada, maybe.
Image file. Next up, we have. What did I say? What did you try to find?
Is it Sukasada?
Oh yes, the Darkness Ninja Boy. Where is he? I know I grabbed him.
Doll's eyes.
Where is he at? There he is. We have Sukasada, Master of the Koga Ninjas, 1-drop, 1/7, Mythic, First Strike, Bane, Barrier, total cost 1 or less. Play this card from outside the game as long as it's revealed. Noticeably, he's a machine. That's important. 2 more to play this card. If there are 50 cards, unless there are 50 cards in your deck, you have to pay more. When a Darkness Resonator deals battle damage to a player, each player reveals the top card of their deck. Then each other player loses X 100 life, where X is the number of combined cost of these cards revealed this way, and then you can play a Darkness card revealed this way only once per turn. So everybody reveals, every other player besides you loses life, and then if there's a Darkness card from among them, you can play this. You can play it.
Interesting.
You do have to pay for it, though. It doesn't say without paying its cost, so you still have to pay for it. So that's interesting. God's Art, 2 black. Until the beginning of your next turn, you may declare target player's blocks instead of the chosen target. So you
Swing?
get to...
That's going to block me, though.
Swing? No blocks?
Incorrect. That's blocking me. Kill your big guy.
Or make it, yeah, for the First Strike and Bane, yeah, for sure, certainly. And then
Seems okay.
Yeah, he seems okay. He's not like insane, but neat.
Very ABC.
Very much ABC. Then we have the Parasites or the Nanobots. Poisonous Nanobots. Play this card from outside the game as long as it's revealed. It gains a remnant in all zones as long as there are 3 or more players. Each player chooses a player secretly. Ooh. Each player that has been chosen the most or tied for the most becomes their life total becomes X, where X is the life of the player in the game with the lowest life, or that is tied as the lowest life. If the life of any other player would become less than 2,000, this way it becomes 2,000 instead. Essentially, hey, stop life gaining. This card's interesting. I don't know. I don't think this card's very good, like, at all. In ABC, though, there are some times where you play against like a blue-white player who just gets truly out of control, and they're just like, you have 18,000 life. I'm tired of this. Go down to 2000, please. Like, okay. Does this see play in hide? It isn't in. It's a machine.
It's a
Not an.
ninja.
At least
The machine ninja.
Sukasada is it. Sukasada could see some play in hide because then suddenly it has quick cast, right? So that's not fully unreasonable. But then you have to play 50 card deck hide. So I don't think I would want to do that. Okay.
Well, hold on. So the effect would see that, okay, you drew 5 cards from your 50 card deck. So now you have 45 cards in your deck.
Mm-hmm. So you'd have to play bigger than a 55 card deck. It's a Typhon card.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a Typhon card.
Yeah. It's very much a Typhon card.
It's designed to be more of a Typhon card.
And I think it's too slow in Wanderer.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. I think he's probably too slow. Next up we have Echidna coming off the ban list with an errata. Has Revolution, gains +2/+2, and you can banish this card to reveal a machine resonator that doesn't share a name with cards revealed and keep it revealed until the end of the game. So instead of just reveal 2 things for free, you get to banish something that you don't already control, aka this is your first wave of terror reveal. So that's the thing. Although it's even worse than that because it's a Darkness Machine Resonator you control. It can't just be any Darkness Machine, but it can be your first Typhon's Blood reveal or Typhon's Antibodies reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can reveal Sukasada for you or something like that.
Or the Cell, which is nice.
Yep,
it can also reveal the Chronos and the other one.
Yep.
The other machines that can come in and be played and stuff.
The Heart.
The Heart is very good.
So we do have one more green-black card to talk about, which is the green-black consensus card, which is worse Guardian Dragon in Wanderer, but pretty good in ABC. Sentinels of the Dark Forest, 1 green, 1 black, 3/3 with Pierce. Consensus Germinate or Rot. Germinate is gets 3 +1/+1 counters for each player who chose Germinate. Rot is get a Magic Stone into play tapped. You can pay 1 green or black, remove a +1/+1 counter from this to put a +1/+1 on something else, and then gain 3 life. Again, worse Guardian Dragon in Wanderer, better Guardian Dragon in ABC. Ta-da! I don't know. Play both if you're playing green black.
Well, so hold on. In Wanderer, though, it becomes a 6/6.
It is a 6/6 that ramps a stone and will never get bigger.
Yeah.
That's worse Guardian Dragon. Because you know what's
better
than
this if you are playing Lich, though.
Yo, sure, because it's a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, sure, and you can't play Guardian Dragon in Lich. So, yeah, no, that's fine.
Niche applications.
Yeah, niche applications in Wanderer. Much better in ABC, though. Much better in ABC.
Yes.
Speaking of things that are much better in ABC than Wanderer, they showed us our boy Typhon. Let's pour one out for Typhon. Players everywhere. Pour it out. Okay, we finished that. Revolution Order now costs you 1 black. You can only have mono attribute darkness cards in your deck. You must play exactly 30 cards without any combination of Typhon's Bloods or Antibodies. You must have exactly 100 cards in your deck, and your starting life is... You cannot have this card in your side deck. No duh. And you have a starting life of 10,000, and you can't pay life in any way. I'm going to have a really hot take on this card in like 2 seconds, because I'm going to talk about the other side real fast. God, we have so many cards. Force Command Infinity. You may call a Magic Stone without resting. You cannot pay life in any other way. Enter. If you control a J ruler of total cost 2 or more, reveal any machine card you own outside the game and keep it revealed. Otherwise, reveal a Darkness Machine Resonator you own from outside the game and keep it revealed until the end of game. So once you get your first... once you find a way to reveal your first Fenrir, you can loop the Fenrirs off of each other with this. Otherwise, you're pretty much just reviewing antibodies. Ignore all of that, because that's not what this card's purpose is. This is my hot take. This card's purpose, while technically being Wanderer play legal, is to introduce the mechanic of revolution to the ABC format. That is the entire job of this card. And it does that job well enough for me. Because that is an entire cluster of cards that is fully inaccessible in their peak form in ABC because of how order rulers have worked. And this card's job is to make them usable in ABC, and for that, I salute it.
E.
That's it. That's its whole job.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but I just find it very, very interesting that they decided to give this Revolution after you pay a black.
Yeah, so it's not just free.
Plus the cost.
Yeah, it's not just free.
It's like, huh. All right. So, like, now our echidnas are 2 cost.
I mean, Typhon's Blood technically just produces the one that pretty much always covers the Revolution order cost, right? It's fine. If you're playing it in Wanderer, and if you're playing it in ABC, you're going to have the extra will for whatever you want to order anyway.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So, like, it's fine. This card's job is bring Revolution to ABC, and it does that job just fine. That's okay.
Oh, yes.
So, I'm okay with it. Moving on.
Talk about him now.
Yeah,
we're talking about him now.
We're talking about him now. God, I hate this card so much. I will go on record saying that if this card is not banned from Wanderer on release, that I predict it will be banned from Wanderer within 3 months. It's a hot take. It's a hot take. I hate this card. I cannot stand this card existing. Harlequin, blue, and this is also another reason why I think that main deck anti-discard hate will be a thing in this next meta. Like, you are going to main deck it. Harlequin, 6/4 untouchable for 2. Consensus, comedy, or tragedy. Comedy. Perform the following effect X times. Each other player returns a non-Magic Stone, non-J ruler entity they control to their owner's hand. It's just your opponents, not you. Tragedy. Perform the following effect Y times. Each other player discards 2 cards. Other players, not you. Pay 1 blue or 1 black, expel this card and the top 5 cards of your deck. Each player reveals the top card of their deck, and you may play a card revealed this way if its total cost is 3 or less. I could give 2 craps about that bottom ability. The fact that we have a 2-drop that will always be 2-drop, bounce a thing, discard 2 to only your opponent that has untouchable and can't be answered by girl staring at. And oh, by the way, if I flicker it or reanimate it, we'll also do that.
You drop water resonator.
I do not like this card. It's mask counterplay. It's mask counterplay with the comedy effect. Sure. 100%.
Why does it have tragedy though?
Then why does it have tragedy? One could argue that the comedy effect is like, this is a guarantee. I will go on record and say this is a guaranteed turn 1 mask answer. This will 100% of the time answer mask on 1 because of how consensus works. Because if when you cast it, your opponent flashes in something to try to save the thing, then you just also pick tragedy. Or you also pick comedy. So then they have to bounce 2 things back to their hand, which means the thing they flashed in and the mask. Right? Guaranteed. Yeah. I hate this card. It is very good and will probably become the defining 2-drop of the meta. Like, this card is way too good. So here,
Water Wizard.
It's also a water wizard, which means it's quick cast, because why not?
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah, this is like everything Vacuous wishes he could be.
Yeah. Valentina 1.0 just being sick as heck.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, also could be Valentina 1.0.
Oh my god.
Listen, okay, so I'm going to get on my soapbox here. I'm on my soapbox. I would have 0 problems with this card if it didn't have the word other printed on it.
Yeah.
100%, I would be fine. Because because then at this point in time, that card is a slightly better Lapis's Darkstorm. That also costs me cards. And I can just lean into playing Remnant. Right? Because then...
Reanimation.
Because then if my opponent picks comedy and I pick tragedy, I'll just put this guy back in hand and then discard him and 1 other card. I'll bounce something from my opponent and make them discard 2 cards. So it's a slightly better Lapis's Darkstorm. Because it has untouchable. I cannot stand that this card only says other. This card is pretty dang good in ABC. This card is cracked as hell in Wanderer. Best card in the set. And it's by a mile. By a mile, this card is the best card in the set.
Probably one of the best cards printed.
Probably top 5.
Period.
Probably top 5.
Yeah.
Because of how consensus works.
It's insane.
Because of how consensus works.
It's
Like I said, please errata it so that it doesn't say other. Let's solve that problem right now so that I don't have to complain. Ban it out of Wanderer on release. No one would be mad. No one would be
Correct.
mad. It's
No
coming
one
out.
would be mad.
It's coming out and exclusively an ABC product. Make it an ABC only card, like Mana Crypt for Commander in Magic. I know Mana Crypt just got banned. I understand, but ABC only cards can exist. Ban this card out of Wanderer on release. No one will be mad. Let it be in Wanderer. It's fine. Or see it banned out of Wanderer in 3 months. I kid you not. It will be on the next ban list. I would be shocked if it's not. Otherwise, start maining 4 copies of Revealing the Power of Salvation, so that when your opponent plays this on 2, you discard 2 Revealing the Power of Salvation and draw 4 cards. Well, everyone will have it.
All right.
Yeah. I don't want
Hey,
that.
Can I have my soap now?
Yeah.
Can
it's
I have
out
my
of
soap?
the- Yeah, I'll take it
Okay.
out of the soapbox. Here you go.
Okay,
God.
thank you. I appreciate it.
God, this
I
card
needed
is
my Irish Spring.
This card's so
This is so
Alejandro,
freaking good.
Alejandro, please. Just pull the trigger and ban it out of Wanderer on release. No one will be mad. No one will be mad.
Magic. Just magic wand.
No one-
It's gone.
Legitimately, no one will be mad. Or take away the other line of text from it so that it hits everybody, including the person casting it.
Or
Both
do we just change how consensus works?
So here's the thing: if consensus could still be affected by girls staring at, then I still hate this card, but I'll give it to you. Right? I'll let it ride. But as it currently stands, consensus dodges girls staring at.
Yeah.
And by the way,
prefer-
this card has Untouchable. I think all of the things
Yes.
set aside, this is a great example of a card that truly at its core, because of how current CR works, should not have had Untouchable on it. Absolutely not. It's the only reason to not. Alejandro, man.
Just do it.
I'm cashing in some chips, my guy. Please. Just make this an ABC card and not a Wanderer card. Somebody clip this and send it to Alejandro. I'm freaking begging. I do not want this card to exist
If
in
he's
Wanderer.
not here already.
I
I would also I would be more okay with this card if consensus worked like old school enter effects, wherein if you put it on the chase from your hand, it enters
Right.
the field that
as opposed
way.
to flickers or
That's fine.
reanimates. Yeah.
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 That is not okay.
Yeah, that's the part that
That's not how this card should work.
Oh, we got so much to do still. Oh my god.
If it you get both on the resonator, yes.
If it ties, you get both. Yep, that's how resonators work. On the resonators, that's how it works. They perform the follow, unless they specifically change that in consensus. But because it's performed the effect X times, where X is the number of players who chose it. So if only one player chooses it, but one player chooses the other one, then you get both modes. Yee.
Specifically for resonators.
Just the rezos. Okay, Ragnarok. We're gonna burn through the void cards super fast because they all are kind of just like
You can do it.
cool void cards. Ragnarok, fixed. They made him so he is a lot cleaner to read, doesn't get abusable right off the bat because only the draw 2 cards mode is cost 0. He's a lot cleaner to understand exactly which effects you've used, and he doesn't produce will, he recovers stones. So you can't abuse his stone recovery to the most effect until you actually hit later in the game, rather than before where you just produce 2 will right off the bat and win the game. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Playable.
Yeah. Playable.
Playable.
Playable. We have Twisted Time Vessel. 2 cost, additional cost to play this card, play 2 in all zones, blah, blah, blah. Pay 1 and tap it to put a time counter on this card. To copy an activate or automatic ability whose source is non-attribute. Ruler or non-attribute, non-magic stone Jade Ruler. If there are 2 time counters on this card, it shuffles it into its deck. So essentially you get to copy stuff, which as the Void deck is neat. Because you probably would like to have some of those things that you can't play cards of. So it's neat. And it has Mastery Ragnarok, which is always nice.
Yeah. So copy Ragnarok effect.
Not whose source is a non-attribute. Yeah, so that's true. So you can copy a Ragnarok ability. Yeah, that's neat for 1 extra tax.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
Very
Void,
good.
Void Servant of Rag. Pierce 8/4 as an additional cost to play 2, as long as there are 3 and you don't control a ruler named Ragnarok. Or you don't control a ruler named Ragnarok. So Ragnarok can play this for 2 if you're playing Wander or Ragnarok. Search your deck for a non-attribute card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you control Ragnarok, search your deck for a card, for any card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck.
Correct.
It doesn't say instead.
Correct.
So you just search 2 things. Seems pretty good for a singleton deck.
Correct.
Deck thinning.
Oh, buy my combo pieces. Yeah.
Hooray. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. We got Dragon of Solari is belligerence instead of swiftness now. Okay, moving on. Ainz. Ainz is pretty cool. This card gains you can't have cards without solarization in it, thank goodness. So we don't have Life Step or Chrono Gear Spawn. This card gains the abilities of Bat, Bird, Dragon, Shark, Squirrel, or Ainz, the magic armor, revealed outside the game. It gets specifically outer space from your hand into the field if you open it. At the beginning of your turn, unreveal all cards you own from outside the game that were revealed by this card. Reveal a Gears Resonator you own with Solari, of Solari in its name from outside the game that does not share a name with this card revealed this way until end of turn. Keep it revealed until the end of the game. So again, you kind of like reset everything with him instead of just kind of stockpiling
one effect a turn.
Essentially, the interesting thing is that kind of yes, but also it's kind of abusable because of living armor of Solari. It's very strange because it specifically is trying to... It's very weird. So it specifically says you unreveal the cards that this card revealed. So if I use the living armor, which I'm about to show off here, when it gets revealed from outside the game or enter, you reveal a different Gears Resonator of Solari from outside the game.
Interesting.
So if I force C2, then draw a card, which is busted. So essentially, let me put it to you this way. Ainz turn 1 reveals Shark. Draws an extra card. Ainz turns 2. Unreveals Shark. Reveals Ainz, Living Armor of Solari. 4 C2s and draws a card. But then Living Armor of Solari then reveals Shark, drawing me another card. And then the next turn, and then, by the way, Shark is permanently giving a +1/+1 because Ainz is gaining the ability of it. So then the next turn, I unreveal Ainz and I reveal Squirrel. Right? And then, or I can reveal another Shark and draw another card because I didn't unreveal a Shark that turn. And then the next turn, I can have Ainz, reveal Ainz to force you to draw a card, and then reveal another Shark to draw another card. Ainz is going to draw so many cards. Yeah, Ainz now has the best draw engine in the game with Living Armor. That is correct. You know what you do against Ainz? Hydria. And you say, no thank you.
Nope.
That's cute.
Wait.
No thank you.
In flavor.
Yeah, you Hydria him with the 12 Sacred Knight. Yeah. Reveals from armor or permanent, so you draw 1 to 2 bonus cards every turn by revealing Shark. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good Ainz buff.
Nuts.
It is an Ainz buff. Which is fine. It's a cool way to bring him back. I like him. Next up we have, oh gosh, we're going Solari's Gaze, only if you control a non-attribute ruler. Pay 1 void if you control a ruler named Ainz or an entity with Ainz in its name, so the Resonator. Each player chooses 2 numbers secretly, then those numbers are revealed. Destroy each non-Magic Stone, non-J ruler entity with 1 or more attributes and total cost equal to the number of the with 1 or more attributes equal to the total cost of the number that has been chosen more times or tied for the most numbers. This card's honestly pretty good even in Wanderer.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to pick the thing that you want to destroy the most, and then your opponent has to guess which number that is to try to guess the same number as you so they don't lose as much stuff, right? Which is interesting because each player has to pick a number, and if they're tied, we each pick a different number. I blow up everything that has either of those numbers. This card is very good. Very good.
Gets around barrier. And has Remnant.
Then they just mirror your Hydria because they have not spent well. I mean, sure. Okay. What are we talking about? I mean, I'm not saying. Jeeves, I understand. Anyway,
cards can stop other cards. Correct.
Any hoozle. Moving right along, we talked about Ainz. Okay, I'm trying to look at what else we have.
I think
here.
that's.
We do have.
So hold on. Let me just say this real quick.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm here.
We could stop right now.
God, we'd have so many cards to do next week.
I know, but they would all be a part of the same set.
That's true. Maybe
right?
we do. Maybe we stop it here.
Because it's already 10:30.
Yeah, we got okay.
And we both work tomorrow, and so does the whole chat.
So many cards to talk about. We're caught up on ABC. So let's end.
We are over halfway done.
We're over halfway done.
I will say that.
We're over halfway done. And we can get caught up next week. That's fair. So let's chat about the ABC decks as a whole. I do want to say, speak for yourself. I do want to say this. There was an announcement made at Worlds that I'm not sure if everyone saw. I think Alejandro talked about it in the live stream, but I want to make sure it's covered here. The monocolor ABC exclusive cards. It's a slight nuance on what was said about getting a full playset of everything. The monocolor ABC cards and the mono void ABC cards have overlap between the different decks. Meaning that if you buy one of every single deck, you will have a full playset of every single monocolored new card. The dual color cards only exist in one deck, which means they only exist in one bonus booster pack. So it was clarified that the dual color cards you will only get half playsets of if you buy one of each starter. But to prevent any further problems, the dual color cards will be reprinted in the box toppers of the next Masterpiece collection, which is confirmed to be Lapis Cluster. So they will be obtainable and flood those 10 ABC dual color cards, which 3 of which are Wanderer, 2 of which are Wanderer relevant, and 1 or 2 of which are maybe Wanderer relevant, and it's exclusively just the Resonators, will be eventually released into the wild to finish your playsets outside of ABC, the ABC decks. So I guess it makes me hate Clown even more. Do we have ABC deck lists yet on the reprint? No, we do not. We do not know what every single reprint is going to be in the ABC decks. The full sets haven't been spoiled yet for reprints. So this is another reason why I'm going to put up my pitch to Alejandro again to please ban Clown out of Wanderer. We are entering off season, so fewer tournaments. At least probably until Masterpiece Collection drops for Lapis. There's always hope for reprints. Electra would be nice. Pricia's Big Show, Split Lumia. There's a lot of cards that you could see reprinted into this that I think would be nice. Dark Alice, Rabbit Princess again for some reason. There's a lot of things you could put in there. Divine Lightning, that would be nice. Yep, to go along with the. I'm assuming it's probably in there. From my understanding, Mamu, Alejandro's official contract with the company has something to do with ban list. He was helping to run the show at Worlds, and so I'm just like, he's the one from the company who watches this show. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey.
I like this. This gives me more of a reason. I know we're entering off season, so tournaments are going to be few and far between, right? But it gives me even more of a reason to say let's just ban the multicolor cards out of, like, make them ABC exclusive. Or even better, make consensus an ABC exclusive keyword. Like, fine. Or do something. Maybe that's a little too harsh, but like none of the chants are playable in Wanderer because they all cost base 4, if not higher. So like all of them are for what they do to only then tie. Like all of the chants will just tie, right? So like those will never get to do anything. The resonators are mid. Green black is just a worse Guardian Dragon. Red black's okay. Like red black is cute, but only against one player. It's pretty mid. Like it's a board clear, but we have better board clears. Green red is okay. Like it's not crazy. The only ones that truly matter are the white blue one, which is already pretty good, and the blue black one, which are cracked. I play year round. I mean, off season competitively is what I meant, like between GPs, like between GP announcements.
Off season for GPs.
Yeah. So like, I just think that with this announcement, you take the sting out of some of that announcement too. Like, obviously it's great that we're going to get reprints of them so soon, dedicated, guaranteed to be able to finish our playsets eventually. But when a card is as good as Clown, suddenly becomes playable as a 4 of in Wanderer, but you can only ever get 2 by buying the ABC deck. I just don't like the precedent of that sense for what the format could be. So like, I don't know. I would really like, because even the blue-white fish is probably just fine as a 2 of. Like you probably don't want to play more than 2 of it, especially since I think it has Mythic, right? I think she has Mythic. So like, you don't want to play 4 because you're probably going to find it instantaneously and you're only going to want to play it in like Olivia or something, right? Like that's going to guarantee you get it. But the Clown is so good just on his face that like, if you're playing it, you're playing 4. And so I don't know. I would prefer to just see that card get axed out of Wanderer, just on the jump. And that, because then the fact that I only get 2 if I buy every single ABC deck doesn't matter. Truly doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I love the company. I love these decks. I love this product.
Yeah.
Asterisk. And I love what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And the card design here, like I don't want to be this, but it for me as a consumer, as someone who wants to see this game be the best it possibly can be, I think it sets a bad precedent for the company to say if you buy all of these decks, you will get a playset.
Yeah.
And then you don't.
Right.
It is a very fundamental thing to just it's a fundamental thing. If you say this, if you advertise something and it's not the way it's portrayed, when you get the box of thing and you open the thing and it's not the thing you were promised it was,
right,
that's bad.
Right.
Now, so at the very least, if you compound that with releasing Blue Black Clown and kind of tanking the format, we guess what I'm trying to say is we could stymie the bleeding now before it even starts.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's the other thing too. I think that's the biggest thing is like on its face when you look at these deck sets. Like let's take the play set issue off the table. This ABC deck set is an absolute banger. Like,
oh yeah,
it's very
100%.
It's very, very cool stuff. It's stuff that's clearly meant for ABC. It's an easy on-ramp for people to play ABC. It's got great ABC cards that are also then usable to experiment. That are also usable to experiment in Wanderer. Like, it's got all of that, right? It's just these 3 damn multicolor cards that are the problem of the whole set. It's the problem of the whole set. And arguably, it's exclusively clown. Undine, one could argue, is annoying, but you only need one, and you will get one, right? The problem is exclusively clown, and because of how good it is. Now, that being said, that problem is solved immediately. It literally not a problem if we just say that these multicolor consensus cards are ABC only. Right? Because here's the other thing too. I won't even do that. I don't even want to allow only one per Wanderer deck. I don't even think that's fine. The concept of consensus, there are so many easy on-ramps. So here's the thing. There are so many easy fixes for this that the company could do through an announcement or a CR update or something, right? The announcement of consensus was that the intent of consensus was to be something for ABC. Right? I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull up the exact language right now.
Yeah.
Right? So like the idea of
100%.
consensus was specifically designed for ABC. Right? Like the exact language that they mentioned. I'm trying to pull it up here. ABCGC, here we go. As we have created a new keyword for the ABC Dual Decks consensus. We hope, thanks to consensus, the strategic and social component of playing ABC games will increase in the same way the fun increases with more players participating. That, to me, reads as the point of consensus is for 3 or more players. Right? That to me reads that way. The chants are worthless in Wanderer because they're all expensive and they will always tie and then do nothing. The resonators in Wanderer are very cool because they will always do something when you cast them. And the chants in ABC will pretty much always get to do something. The likelihood that it ties in ABC, very low. Because in ABC, you as the player have the last vote on the chants. Right? So you let your opponent pick what we're doing, but you have the deciding vote, so it's always going to resolve. So it's neat. The fact that the resonators perform regardless of if it's a tie or not, introduced into a format with only 2 players, is not a good idea because of how good those abilities are when you apply it to a Wanderer format. And so you solve the problem is if it's not Wanderer playable. If it's just if it's as introduced, it's just a mechanic for ABC. And again, no one will be mad. The only players who will actually be mad is Patrick Ogrins, who can get off the bus because he's losing to Olivia Resonators. He is the only player in the world who will be mad, and he can shove it with his anger about losing these cards from Wanderer format. Love you to death, Patrick, but sorry. Just no. Yeah, you're in the chat right now, for sure. Calling you out.
Damn. This is what happens after 10:30. Jeremy doesn't go to bed, and then he gets really, really angry.
I angry about this card. So, I mean, because then, here's the other thing. Because then again...
Let's consider this.
The only cards...
Let's consider this.
Hold on. I'm going to finish my thought.
Oh, okay, you finish your thought.
If these are only ABC cards, if they're designed and printed, the consensus mechanic was introduced for ABC, that's the intention of it, it's only for ABC. Then, the idea that I only get 2 in each ABC deck means absolutely nothing. Because then I have a normal one and a foil one, and my foil one can go in the deck, and I'm done. And then, for later players who maybe can't get the ABC decks later, they have a way to get the consensus cards. So then the box topper for Pilgrim Memories getting these extra cards makes sense. Literally, it's so easy. Alejandro, my guy, please, you can save the problem. Okay.
So there is precedent for this in other card games, especially in Magic, which takes Force of Will takes almost all of its inspiration from it and went its own direction with it. There are cards that say if you have a commander, you get this effect in Magic.
Right.
Well, if you're playing Standard or Modern or just one-on-one, that effect does not apply because there are no commanders.
Right.
So just put it in a CR. Consensus only applies in events where there are 3 or more players.
Or consensus only applies if you're playing an Arcana ruler. Because then it's only ABC. Easy. Problem solved. Playset problem solved. The problem with Clown being solved. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Just in some way, however you want to do it, just restrict it to ABC and it's copacetic.
You solve literally every problem. Literally every problem. Except Undine. You solve the Undine. You don't solve the Undine problem. But I don't think the Undine problem is as big as people think it's going to be. So
we need to let Blue have good things, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because we got Zaki.
It's fine. Okay.
We got Zaki this set. We need something okay.
That being said, on its face, ABC decks, 9 out of 10. I give them a 9 out of 10.
Given that we need to already correct something, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10.
Sure. I'm talking like purely in the
event?
concept. I'm talking purely in the sense of within the context of ABC as a product to introduce the concept of ABC to the format. Like, if that's the mission of these decks with their design and everything else, I call it a 9 out of 10. I would agree with you. That's like a 7 out of 10 with the other things, maybe 6 out of 10.
Yeah. For me, it's a 6 out of 10 in the event that I'm like, as a community manager saying like, hey, you pick up this deck. If you end up liking the game, you can buy all of the decks and you'll have a full playset of everything. I can't say that anymore.
Right.
So it's more of like, if we do some corrections, I can say, yep, all of the cards in this deck are Wanderer legal. Except for the consensus cards.
Right. Except for consensus. And again,
And then it's good.
no one will be mad.
And no one will be mad.
No one will be mad.
All the Magic players will be like, oh, that makes sense.
I'm going to ask someone to clip this entire like last rant and the previous rant about Clown and just send it to Alejandro and be like, my guy, you got 3 weeks. Please. Yeah. Now, watch them come out, and this was their intent all along, and I just look like an idiot for ranting and raving so hard, and I'll be like, that's fine. I ranted and raved so hard that this happened. I'm going to hold myself to that.
Well, like genuinely, like
Dark Hydra, -1 for Clown,
ranting-
-1 for Clown, -1 for the Infinite. So the Infinite is, like, solved. Like, that's...
Yeah,
I can confirm for you that it will be solved. On that's fine. But yeah, $25 for 120 cards, -1 for Clown, -1 for Infinite. Yeah, that's fine. Clown. Gosh, I hate that card so much. Just make consensus ABC only, please.
If they fix consensus, it is automatically a 10 out of 10.
Agreed.
For me.
100%.
I think it's a perfect product.
100%.
Just fix the consensus thing, make that ABC only. That's all you need.
It's all you need.
Like,
it's all you need.
Then it's literally a perfect product.
Perfect product. And with that, it's time for us to go. Next week, we'll have so many spoilers for the next actual set to get started with. And we can talk more about what we saw at Worlds and ABC stuff. Oh, I will say this. I'll say it again before. It has been confirmed that FowFest has invites to Worlds now. So y'all should come to FowFest. More information on that to come. But
come to FowFest.
My meetings were successful. So hooray for that. And with that, that's been myself and DMO73 saying class dismissed. And consensus for only
and
ABC, please. And Paul.
I'm
Paul's
here too. And bye.
Paul also wants consensus to be only ABC. Class dismissed.